What happens when someone who has built an entire career on warmth, empathy, and unshakable poise suddenly hits a wall, live, unfiltered, and with millions watching? That's exactly what unfolded the morning Jennifer Garner took her seat on The View, expecting a simple promotional chat about her latest film. Instead, she walked straight into a moment that caught even the most seasoned viewers off guard. In my opinion, it was one of those rare television moments when you can feel the room shift. That instant when everyone realizes something unexpected is about to happen. The segment began innocently enough. Jennifer, radiant as always, was prepared to talk about a new drama centered around motherhood and resilience, themes she's always approached with sincerity. But before she could even finish her first sentence, there was a subtle heaviness in the air, a tension that didn't match the usual morning show energy. Even the audience sensed it, that strange, quiet buzz that happens when a crowd feels something brewing beneath the surface. Joy Behar leaned forward, her expression sharp, in that way only a seasoned talk show host can manage. "Jennifer," she began with a knowing smirk, "you're always playing the sweet characters, moms, caretakers, the good-hearted ones. Don't you ever get tired of being nice all the time?" On paper, it was a playful jab. In the room, it landed like a needle. The chuckles from the audience sounded uncertain, unsure whether they should laugh. Jennifer's smile didn't falter, but there was a flicker of surprise in her eyes. "I like playing people who feel real," she answered gently. "There's strength in kindness." Joy raised her brows. "Sure, but don't you ever feel like people don't take you seriously because of it? Folks still call you America's mom. Doesn't that get under your skin?" There it was, the shift. The kind of pointed turn that transforms a casual question into something more deliberate. Even the other hosts sensed it. Whoopi leaned back, eyes alert but cautious. Sunny shuffled her note cards, avoiding eye contact. Sarah's polite smile tightened at the edges. Jennifer straightened, keeping her tone even. "Compassion isn't weakness, Joy. Honestly, I think the world could use more of it." Joy let out a dry laugh. "Compassion is great, sure, but it won't win you trophies. You've been in this business long enough to know that nice doesn't sell." This time, the audience didn't laugh. They reacted. A strange murmur, something between discomfort and disbelief. Jennifer held her expression perfectly still for a moment. Then, in a tone lower and more grounded, she replied, "Maybe that's why people are so cynical. Everyone's chasing praise instead of peace." Even through a screen, that moment hit hard. You could almost hear every breath in the studio shift at once. Joy blinked, thrown off for the first time. Before anyone else could jump in, Whoopi tried to redirect with a light-hearted, Okay, ladies, let's not start a war before the commercial break." But the heat didn't fade. Joy wasn't done. "I just find it interesting," she added casually, leaning back, "how some people act nice on camera, but that's not always who they really are." The gasp from the audience was instant, loud, involuntary, and unanimous. It was the kind of comment that hits like a slap. Jennifer's jaw twitched, barely visible but unmistakable. She inhaled slowly, the kind of breath someone takes when they're deciding whether to defend themselves or stay silent. "I hope you're not implying something personal," she said, her voice calm but edged. Joy shrugged. "I'm just saying Hollywood is full of surprises." And with that sentence, whatever invisible line existed between friendly teasing and crossing a boundary vanished. Jennifer's hand tightened on the armrest, a small movement, but full of meaning. Years of training told her to stay composed, to deflect, to remain likable. but something inside her refused to let the moment slide. "I've worked very hard to stay true to who I am," she said, her voice quivering only slightly. "If that doesn't fit what you find entertaining, that's something you'll need to figure out, not me." The applause hit like thunder, unplanned, sincere, and loud enough to startle even Whoopi. Joy muttered into her mic, "Touchy, touchy." Jennifer turned sharply. "You know, Joy, I came here to talk about my film, not defend my character, and for the record, kindness isn't something I fake. It's a choice, one I make every single day, even when I'm sitting across from people who think cruelty is the same as honesty." Silence followed, thick, immovable. Whoopi tried again, almost pleading. "We're going to break." She motioned toward the producers, but the moment already had momentum of its own, and Jennifer wasn't finished. "We don't need more cynicism," she said softly. "We need more decency." The studio erupted into applause again, even louder than before. Some people stood, others just stared. Joy's smile cracked for the first time. Barely, but noticeably, Joy forced a short laugh. "Guess I hit a nerve." Jennifer met her gaze without blinking. "No, Joy, you hit a mirror." Another wave of gasps, more applause, and then finally, the screen faded to black as the show cut to commercial. But even during the transition, you could feel the energy radiating off that stage. Sharp, electric, impossible to ignore. Jennifer exhaled slowly. For the first time, her hands trembled. Joy stared straight ahead, avoiding eye contact with anyone. When the show returned, everyone knew they weren't stepping back into the same atmosphere. The theme music played, but it couldn't cut through the heaviness. Jennifer's polite smile had returned, but it didn't reach her eyes. Joy sat stiff and defensive, trying to look neutral. The audience wasn't even pretending. They were locked in, fully alert. Whoopi tried to reset the tone. "Welcome back to The View. We're here with the wonderful Jennifer Garner, who's been talking about her new film, and a few other things." Jennifer thanked her with practiced warmth, but Joy wasn't done sparking the fire. "Oh, we always have real conversations here, Jennifer. Some people just don't like when things get real." You could practically hear the audience inhale, a collective uh-oh. Sarah jumped in, desperate to steer things back. "So, Jennifer, your new movie, it's about rebuilding after hardship, right?" Jennifer nodded, grateful. "Yes, it's about finding your strength again after—" Joy cut in. "You've had to do that too, right? After everything with Ben?" The reaction was immediate and visceral. The air itself seemed to recoil. Jennifer froze, just for a heartbeat, a moment so sharp it made everyone watching whisper, "No way, she didn't just say that." Whoopi sat up straight, her voice suddenly sharp. "Joy, no, we're not doing that." Joy shrugged. "It's public. She's talked about it. Everyone talks about it." Jennifer's voice dropped into something impossibly calm. "I didn't come here to reopen personal wounds. And I definitely didn't come here to let you turn my private life or my children's lives into talking points." Applause, loud, supportive, almost protective. Joy pushed forward. "But don't you think people relate to you because of that? The whole heartbreak, single mom narrative. It's part of your brand." Jennifer repeated the word slowly, like it tasted bitter. "My brand? Joy, I'm not a product. I'm a person, and my children are not storylines." More applause, louder this time. Some audience members even shouted in agreement. Joy tried to brush it off. "This is The View. We ask what people want to know. You can't expect to just sell a movie." This time, Jennifer didn't hide the emotion cracking through her voice. "Curiosity doesn't give anyone permission to humiliate me on live TV," she said. You call it honesty. I call it cruelty. The studio went completely still. Even breathing sounded loud. Joy fired back weakly. So pretending everything's perfect is better? Jennifer didn't hesitate. Honesty isn't cruelty, and cruelty isn't courage. The audience erupted again. Even some of the crew members in the background paused to watch. Whoopi raised her hands. Okay, enough. We're not doing this today. But Jennifer wasn't done reclaiming her dignity. I grew up watching this show, she said quietly. I admired the women sitting at this table. They built each other up. They had integrity. But today, all I'm seeing is noise pretending to be empowerment. Joy stiffened. The audience gasped once more. Whoopi signaled desperately to cut to break, but the producers didn't. They knew a viral moment was happening. In real time, Jennifer continued, steady and direct. I don't mind tough questions, but when another woman uses her platform to tear me apart for sport, it says more about her than it does about me. Joy looked down, cornered, visibly shaken. Sarah leaned toward Jennifer and whispered, You're handling this better than I ever could. Jennifer exhaled, still looking at Joy. Sometimes the battle chooses you. Applause erupted again, standing, roaring, undeniable. Joy muttered under her breath, You're really making a moment out of this. Jennifer replied softly, No, Joy, you made this moment. I'm just finally refusing to walk away from it. Music began playing early, a desperate attempt to move on, but the damage lingered, humming like static. The moment the cameras cut, producers rushed in. Assistants scrambled. Joy was handed new note cards she barely looked at. Jennifer leaned back, trying to calm her trembling hands. Someone whispered to her, That was... Wow, Jennifer whispered back. Not what I came here for, but maybe what needed to happen. Backstage, chaos filled the halls. Voices echoed, producers huddled, assistants darted around like they were trying to put out invisible fires. Jennifer sat in the green room, staring into the mirror, trying to align her reflection with everything that had just happened. A young producer approached gently. Are you okay? Jennifer offered a thin smile. I'm fine, just overwhelmed. Down the hall, Joy's voice carried loudly. I don't care what social media thinks. I was doing my job. Whoopi countered calmly. There's tough questioning, Joy, and then there's crossing a line. Jennifer closed her eyes, listening. Sunny slipped quietly into the room. You handled yourself with more class than anyone could have. It didn't feel classy, Jennifer admitted. It felt like surviving. And sometimes surviving is grace, Sunny replied. Jennifer sighed. Do you think I went too far? Sunny shook her head. You set a boundary, Jen. People forget you're allowed to have one. Outside, Joy continued arguing with producers. So now I'm the villain. I've been doing this for years. Michael, one of the senior producers, tried to stay calm. It's not about being a villain. It's about respecting a guest's humanity. Whoopi added quietly, This show is better than what happened today. Jennifer turned to Sunny. Does the noise ever stop? It never stops, Sunny said gently. You just learn which noise isn't yours to carry. Whoopi peeked into the room. You good? Jennifer nodded. Trying to be. For the record, Whoopi said softly, you didn't lose your cool. You told your truth. For once, Jennifer said quietly, I didn't smile through something that hurt. You don't have to, Whoopi replied. As Jennifer stepped into the hallway, her publicist rushed toward her with a phone in hand. Jen, it's everywhere. Jennifer froze. Already? Her publicist showed her the Screen A clip of her telling Joy, You hit a mirror, was already going viral. Millions of views, thousands of comments, headlines exploding everywhere. Sunny glanced over and whispered, "They're calling it one of the strongest moments ever on a talk show." Jennifer's heart pounded. It wasn't the kind of spotlight she'd planned for, but she couldn't deny that something about it felt necessary. As she walked out of the studio, she knew one thing for sure. This wasn't just a TV moment. It was the beginning of a much louder conversation about boundaries, decency, and what happens when someone known for grace finally refuses to stay silent. "I didn't want any drama," Jennifer kept telling herself. "I didn't ask for a moment." "You didn't create one," her publicist said softly. "You just didn't let it swallow you whole." Down the hall, a door slammed. Joy Behar's dressing room. Inside, she paced in tight circles, the glow of her phone reflecting off her frustrated expression. "They're all jumping to defend her," she snapped. "Somehow I'm the villain, as usual." Her assistant hovered, speaking gently. "Maybe we just let today cool off a bit." Joy rolled her eyes and tossed her phone onto the vanity. "I'm not apologizing for doing my job." But when she caught her reflection, tense shoulders, worn expression, she didn't see the confident host who normally owned the stage. She looked rattled, and she knew it. Out in the hallway, Jennifer gathered her bag, still buzzing with adrenaline. Before leaving the studio floor, she paused and looked back at the empty set. The bright lights were dimmed, the applause long gone, leaving only a faint echo. "It's funny," she murmured to Whoopi, who had stayed quietly beside her. "You come in just trying to talk about a movie, and you walk out part of the story instead." Whoopi rested a gentle hand on her back. The truth has a way of finding its spotlight. As Jennifer walked out the back exit, a wall of camera flashes exploded. Reporters shouted, "Jennifer, do you want to respond to Joy's comments? Were you offended? Will you return to The View?" For a moment, she stood still, the cameras capturing her composed expression. Then she offered a small, serene smile. "Sometimes," she said, "silence says everything." She ducked into the waiting car. The door shut, muting the chaos outside. Back on the empty stage, Joy sat alone, the hum of the overhead lights filling the silence. For once, she didn't have a comeback. No joke, just uncertainty. The next morning, every entertainment show replayed the clip. Commentators called it a clash of styles, Jennifer's calm composure versus Joy's blunt commentary. But the real impact wasn't in the on-air exchange. It was the emotional aftermath. By sunrise, the internet was boiling. Clips of Jennifer leaning forward, meeting Joy's eyes, speaking with quiet conviction, flooded every platform. That line, "You hit a mirror," was everywhere. TikTok, X, Instagram, all filled with reactions, micro-expression breakdowns, commentary videos, hashtags trended non-stop, hashtag Team Garner, hashtag Respect on the View, hashtag Grace Under Pressure. People weren't just debating a talk show segment, they were debating tone, boundaries, and accountability, especially when millions of watching crowds gathered outside ABC's New York studio. Some held signs reading, "Kindness is strength." Jennifer spoke for all of us. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. Joy walked into the makeup room looking older than she had the day before, her hair pulled back too tightly, her eyes tired. "Morning," Whoopi said evenly. Joy let out a long breath. "If one more person says the word mirror, I swear," Whoopi cut her off gently. "Then maybe stop giving them material." Joy sank into her chair, rubbing her temples. "I didn't mean anything personal. I was doing what I always do. Poke a little, push a little. That's the show. People expect it." Whoopi raised a brow. "There's poking, and then there's tipping the whole table." Joy didn't argue. She couldn't. Across the city, Jennifer sat at her kitchen table, her coffee growing cold as her phone lit up non-stop. Texts from her publicist kept coming. Offers, requests, interviews, metrics. "Mum, you're everywhere," her daughter said, leaning in the doorway. "TikTok is calling you a queen." Jennifer laughed softly. "That's sweet, but I wish they were talking about the movie." Her daughter grinned. "They're talking about you being real. People love real." Jennifer looked down at her coffee. Her reflection rippled in the surface. "Being real shouldn't come with so much noise," she said. By midday, think pieces covered the internet. Jennifer Garner's viral moment reveals a respect problem in daytime TV. Why Joy Behar's comment crossed the line? The day Jennifer Garner stood her ground. Some defended Joy as a truth teller. Others criticized her harshness. Backstage at The View, producers worked overtime, juggling calls from ABC executives and drafting statements. By evening, Joy appeared on camera again, this time from her dressing room. Her voice was softer. "I've read your comments," she said, "and maybe I pushed harder than I should have. Jennifer is gracious. If it came off personal, that's on me." It wasn't a full apology, but it was closer than anyone expected. Online, reactions split again. Some applauded her for acknowledging it. Others called it damage control. Jennifer, meanwhile, posted a simple Instagram story, white text on a black background. "We're all human, we stumble. We respond, we learn. Choose kindness." It went viral instantly. Entertainment Tonight aired a segment calling it a turning point in daytime TV. But behind the scenes, feelings were far more complicated. Jennifer's publicist suggested interviews and carefully crafted narratives, but she shook her head. "I said what I felt," she replied. "There's nothing to spin." For Joy, the aftermath lingered even heavier. When she returned to the set days later, the laughter felt thinner. The audience clapped, but with less warmth. Whoopi offered only a polite nod. During a break, Joy glanced at the empty chair where Jennifer had sat. She remembered Jennifer's expression, not angry, not confrontational, just done. And somehow, that hit the hardest. 2 days later, Joy reached out privately with a short message. "You didn't deserve that. I'm sorry." Jennifer replied hours later. "Thank you, we're all learning." No cameras, no statements, just two people stepping away from the noise. Weeks passed. The world moved on. But the moment didn't disappear. It stayed alive across social media, in comment threads, in videos analyzing boundaries, in quiet conversations about kindness and strength. One viral clip summed it up perfectly. Jennifer Garner showed that kindness doesn't mean staying silent. Sometimes the gentle thing is simply telling the truth. Months later, Jennifer appeared on another talk show, relaxed, smiling, completely herself. When the host asked about the moment, she answered calmly, "Sometimes you're handed a microphone at exactly the right time, and you get to choose what you do with it." The audience applauded. Across the city, Joy watched the clip from her dressing room, let out a long breath, and muttered, "Fair enough." Because here's the thing about moments like these, they don't end when the cameras stop. They linger. They echo. They remind people that grace isn't passive, and strength doesn't always look loud. Jennifer Garner didn't set out to dominate headlines, but she did something more meaningful. She made people feel something real. And in a world full of constant noise and quick reactions, that kind of authenticity sticks. So now, I want to hear from you. Was Jennifer right to stand her ground the way she did? Or was Joy simply doing what she's known for? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective adds to the conversation. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood's most unexpected moments, don't forget to subscribe to Prime Narrator, because sometimes the most unforgettable stories, the ones that really leave a mark, aren't scripted at all.